Hello and welcome to another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined by my usual cohorts, Uncle Joe McLaughlin, and he's JP's first son, Tim Hoey. Well, we have another great show for you tonight. So, boys, let's get it started. We start with the Boston Celtics. And, Joe, you had a question coming out of the gate. What was your question, Joe, about the Boston Celtics?
Is it time to think about firing Brad Stevens?
Oh, great.
You know what? I'm going to say something.
Lost the room.
Joe, I'm going to say something. I would have just chopped your head off right here 2 weeks ago.
Yes, me too, Tim.
2 weeks ago for asking that question. What I saw last night, I will now say yes. That team is completely lost and gone. A team that, handled the 76ers pretty well last year in the playoffs, didn't belong in the same building with them last night. And it wasn't from a talent standpoint. It was from an attitude and effort standpoint. So I say he should be on a short stick right now.
Yeah, look, it's very difficult to think that you always think your best player is not the guy that you have to reach to as a coach. You assume because he's such a superior talent that he will lead and he will play. We saw Jason Tatum last night acting like a disinterested player in a nationally televised, important game against the 76ers. He came out in the first half, as Timmy said, 5 points. The team had 14 turnovers. They were wiped out in the first half, and he didn't care.
I wasn't even sure. I had to double check. Was he even playing last night? Scotty, that's how unnoticeable he was in the first half. Because he wasn't involved in anything. I kind of had to double check. Is he even here tonight?
Yeah,
What
Joe.
were they saying to the people around you at the Garden?
Oh, well, I tell you something. They really turned hard. A lot of people left in the third and late third, early fourth quarter. But remember, there's only 12% of the people allowed in. But a lot of people were cursing when they left. And these are rabid Celtics fans. If you're there, those are season ticket holders.
Oh, it was a disgraceful performance. But you know my theory about Tatum. I think he just smokes too much weed before games.
Yeah.
How many times has he disappeared in the first half and then showed up in the second?
And we were all, me and Scotty were saying, watch this. He's going to come out and get 15 in the fourth. Like he'll give you 15 minutes, 11 minutes of effort near the end of the game.
You're right. He finished, his line finishes with 20 points.
His line, finished like he was an important part of the game. And he had nothing to do with that game last night. Nothing.
This is a guy who's heaving up three-pointers. And, Joe, the three-pointers, they don't have good enough shooters to be shooting half of your shots be three-pointers.
No, you have to work it inside, especially against Philly. Jaylen Brown should have been doing that a little bit more.
I'll give this for Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown was working his butt off last night. He might not have been effective. He might have had a bunch of turnovers. Marcus Smart was working his butt off. There was effort there. They were hustling. They were breaking. I don't think Jason Tatum broke a sweat in the first half. I really don't.
Yeah, and you see how torn up Rob Williams was the last time he was taken out of the game. You should have seen him on the sidelines. We saw it, Timmy and I. He was torn up. The guy was completely discouraged on what had happened, how he had played Embiid. Tatum, nothing. Just another day. Let's get to the food spread.
Yeah.
Embiid did the same thing that he used to do to Tice. Drive on him, get the fouls, and then take him out of the game that way.
I think it was. I don't think it was till the third quarter that Tatum took it to the hole, and he was successful. He made a beautiful move because he's talented enough to do so. But if you don't, he should have been doing that all game and drawing fouls and getting Embiid into foul trouble. And Embiid didn't have his first foul until the fourth quarter. I don't think something like that. I could be a little wrong on that.
Yeah, I don't remember him getting called for a foul. And Jaylen Brown had Ben Simmons, a potential defensive player of the year on him. It was hard work getting points.
Yeah, look, Simmons played well last night. I mean, he can't shoot free throws to literally save his life. But you saw what people see in Simmons, posting up guys, real quick to the basket, big size for a point guard.
Oh, geez. Against, with Kemba guarding him or something, it's just not even fair.
Well, that's up to Brad to put the right guy on him.
They put Smart on him, but he still worked it.
Yeah. The fact is that Kemba is not a point guard. Nothing his game suggests that he's a point guard. He's a 20-minute-a-game shooting guard.
He should be coming off the bench. I think when Fournier comes back, where he's bigger, maybe let him be the starter at point and bring Kemba in for the change of pace and maybe some outside shooting.
Well, when we saw Romeo Langford last year, the very brief time we saw him, what stood out was that defensively he understands the game. He understands to play defense. And last night, that's what I saw again. He has a great sense of defensively. He's quick, and he actually kind of looked like an NBA player last night.
The only thing, what sticks out about him and Grant Williams, are they a guard or are they a forward? They're in that weird zone. Grant Williams, I know I'm switching from Romeo here for a second, Scotty. Grant Williams looks like a guy who has no position in the NBA.
Well, he played center his whole life in high school and college. And then all of a sudden he gets to the pros and they say, now you're a wing.
If I were him, I would enter the NFL draft and try to be a tight end.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea, Tim. Not a bad idea.
Yeah, Grant Williams in a really good team may not even play a minute a game. And that's where in this team, all of a sudden, he's taking Embiid with key minutes. And that's a recipe for disaster.
6'6" is just not tall enough for the NBA. Unless you can, pick quarters off the top of the backboard with your leaping ability. It's just not, he's not quick enough to be a 6'6" guard. You know what I mean?
No.
He'll hit the wide open three once in a while, but other than that, he can't guard a 6'8" quick guy.
But that's what the G League to me is full of, guys like Grant Williams.
Yeah.
Slow.
But Uncle Joe, what is Romeo Langford? To me, poses a great question.
We don't know. We haven't seen much of him. I like the flashes. Him and Nate Smith, they seem to be the same guy right now. Come in, give you a little hustle and a little defensive presence. Not much on the offensive end.
But is Langford a shooting guard or a small forward?
I don't think that's the term. Uncle Russ would tell you they're a wing. That's the new term.
I know, but I don't even know that.
I call that a shooting guard. I call that a shooting guard.
Yeah, because I know they use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I get it, but I'm doing clear, and this is much clearer. It's the definition of these things, and to me, right now, his position looks like he's a shooting guard.
Yeah.
With Philly's height last night, when you're going against a 6'6" guy and you're 6'8", 6'9", you can just post up every time and have your way.
Yeah.
Nothing a 6'6", stockily built guy that really can't jump like Grant Williams. There's nothing he can do about it.
Now, all of a sudden last night, I thought Taco Fall gave them some quality minutes. He brought some nice energy. I think you can't completely stop Embiid, but I thought he did a pretty good job against him. So I think all of a sudden now, moving forward, Taco Fall can be a guy, not maybe in your rotation, but at the very least on your team.
Scotty, my question with Taco, his hands are so terrible. His hands... Yeah. He gets the ball.
He didn't have a steal though, Tim.
But he can't make a 4-foot. I think I saw him make a couple of 4-foot passes, and they were almost picked off. Let's go back to the worst play of the night. The Celtics come out of a timeout, and the inbounds pass is picked off and put in.
Picked off goes right through Smart's hands, right into Ben Simmons, right? Who just lays it in. Or Danny Green. I think it was Danny Green, actually.
Danny Green, and he was laughing. He was laughing at the ineptitude of the Celtics. He was laughing at the Celtics after the play.
Yeah, he was. Danny Green's very happy with himself. He's quite comfortable. Yeah, it was very funny. And Marcus Smart just looking at him like, I know this team shits the bed. I don't know what to do about it. And later on you saw Marcus Smart after a timeout giving it all to the Celtics bench.
But I heard
Brad Stevens' job.
I heard a guy on EEI today. I'm gonna kind of paraphrase what he was saying. What Marcus Smart should have been yelling was, I know I've turned the ball over about 50 times already today. I know I've missed. I'm 0 for 9 for 3-pointers, and I stink, but you guys have to be better.
But Brad Stevens shows no emotion. If there's one time to start yelling at the players openly, it would have been last night, Joe, and he didn't do it.
Or sit people like Tatum and have him sit on the bench in front of the fans.
But if you're getting a $650,000 paycheck deposited into your checking account every week, are you listening to anybody?
Yeah, no, they're not. But
well, I'll tell you, in any sport, the coach has to have a special relationship with their best player, and it's especially so in basketball. And if Stevens isn't getting through to Tatum, and it doesn't seem he is this year, it might be time for a change, because otherwise you can't get rid of the player. You're paying him $35 million.
We were blaming Kyrie for being Kyrie, and that Brad couldn't connect with him, and we were not blaming Tatum or Brown. It was all on Kyrie. Okay, Brad. All right, Tatum seems to be going in the Kyrie direction right now. I hate to say it.
Tim, I remember what you used to say back in those Kyrie days. You used to say maybe Brad can't handle dealing with a superstar.
Yeah.
And maybe you were prophetic about, this coming about now with Tatum.
Like, look at Doc Rivers could handle any guy in this league. I don't care who it is.
Well, that's a great segue, because I was just going to say that. What a difference last night. Doc Rivers has a team that's clearly better than the Celtics. They're wiping them out the whole game, and Doc is constantly coaching, whether it's coaching players, working the referees, doing whatever he does till the end, when the buzzer sounds. Brad Stevens, I never even noticed him the whole time, and we were 10 rows from the court.
Up in the air like this, saying nothing.
10 rows from the court, I didn't even know he was around.
Doc has connected with Embiid. Embiid is having by far the greatest season of his life. He is so far above what he's ever been before. It's ridiculous. He's an MVP this year. And he was just a regular guy before.
His conditioning, they must have got to him about his conditioning and told him he had to get in better shape, because he looked great last night.
Look, I've never seen a guy even close to that big size with as soft a touch as Embiid does. It's remarkable.
He is big. I've been looking at Rob Williams thinking he was big over the last couple of weeks. Him next to Embiid, and he's just a little kid.
Who's the new 7'2" guy that we got there?
Fournette.
Corbin.
And B looked at him like a steak and cheese sub. I mean, the second he walked onto the court, he was just like, I'm just going to drop a shoulder and back in and just abuse this guy.
Well, think about Embiid for a second. When's the last time in his life that he was looking up to a guy in Taco Fall, right? How many people in his life has ever been taller than him? And you can tell that Simmons and Embiid were trying to engage Taco Fall in conversation during the game, and Taco wasn't having any of it. They have max contracts. Taco does not have a max contract. Trust me. All right, boys, go to the Red Sox. Just came back from the game. First of all, I just want to mention, God bless the Boston Red Sox management. It's back to normal. I went to the bathroom, as disgusting of a bathroom as ever, not worried at all about the pandemic, crap on the ground, dirt everywhere. It was good to be back in Fenway, and all of a sudden, if I told you that the Red Sox were going to have 2 series to start the season, they would sweep one and get swept in the other, I'm sure you would have guessed it would have been the Orioles sweeping and the Rays they would have swept. Unbelievable.
At least they're hitting now. Against the Orioles, they couldn't buy a run.
Yeah. All of a sudden, Timmy, you have 2 starts from Nathan Eovaldi, and he's looked fantastic.
I was a big Nathan Eovaldi fan 2 years ago. He kind of was average. I guess he was above average last year, but I always thought he was capable of being a very good pitcher in this league.
And really, Joe, it's all about health for Eovaldi, too. I mean, obviously, he has the stuff.
He's never had a healthy season, so hopefully this will maybe be the first one he has. And I heard Erod was thrown in the bullpen.
I think Erod pitches tomorrow, right?
Is Eovaldi hitting the 101, 102 like he used to?
Yeah, I didn't even look at the gun today, but yeah, he was at 99 opening day. Absolutely.
When it's 100, the ball straightens out, though. He doesn't have that hop on the ball when it gets above 100.
And so the guy who looks like he's already in midseason form and actually played left field today, though scumbag Cora said that he would never see the outfield. He played left field today in JD Martinez, and again, hit a key double. The kid looks like he's on.
Well, he can watch his videos between innings again now,
Is it, to me, that's a great point. Is it because of baseball players are just so used to that regular schedule and doing everything the same that you take something like not watching video for JD Martinez and he turns to dust?
I'll tell you, a lot of athletes, in my opinion, I'd wear the same T-shirt after every hockey game without washing it if I was on a good roll. You want to use the same stick, the same everything. A lot of it's so psychological, and with baseball players maybe before. That was JD Martinez's rhythm. Was watch video, watch video, watch video. I think psychologically that prepared him to get up to bat and maybe gave him confidence when he went up there. You take that away from him, and maybe, he had a lingering doubt in the back of his mind when he was standing there at bat.
Yeah, great up at bat.
Comfort zone.
Great up at bat, Joe, last night to win the game, and that was such an exciting game. As a guy who's played right field in college, I tell you something, when that ball comes off a right-handed hitter in that line, if you're not playing deep, if you're playing shallow, then you can't really judge how high, how far, and how
you got turned around, didn't you?
Those line drives, you do get turned around real quick on that. And this guy, the right fielder, is a fantastic young player, and he looked terrible in that play.
Well, and it was the winning play, but so it's gonna get replayed a lot over the next couple of weeks, I'm sure.
But look, we talked about, Timmy, how important getting off to a good start is. I think that game last night was a springboard. I'm telling you something. They lose that game, you don't know. Even if they're 2-4 coming out, that's not good. But they're 3-3. No problem in the divisions. Nobody's taken off in the first 6 games. All of a sudden, you go to Baltimore. If you can take 2 out of 3 there, all of a sudden you're looking pretty good moving forward. A lot better than 3 days ago.
A poor start in baseball. A lot of times you never recover from that. You go 1-11 to start the season, and there's just no coming back from it. It's like the Villanova Gonzaga game. What did Villanova go up like 14-0 or something to start the game, or 12-2? There was no coming back from it. I look at the Major League Baseball season as kind of similar to that. All you're doing is trying to catch up the whole time.
Yeah, look, last night, 7 innings from the bullpen, no runs given up. Bullpen is starting to look good, and we know each year, Joe, you just kind of put them all together. They're like goulash, and you kind of see if you get anything that's edible.
Scotty, I don't know if you can say this. Who pitched well last night out of the bullpen? Can you?
Matt Barnes. Matt Barnes, who could not give any.
Say Matt Barnes.
Matt Barnes, he can't get arrested, nor can he infect anyone with COVID. The man's not real. Look, Matt Barnes, other than Kiki Hernandez, who I want to mention, is everybody. I hate Kiki Hernandez. You soon will hate Kiki Hernandez. There's nothing good to like about him. But Matt Barnes was such an overpay. It was remarkable at 4.
Castiglione said it was the liveliest fastball he's ever seen Matt Barnes throw.
Oh, my God. He must be watching the show. He's terrible.
Ottavino was tired. He must have been.
Ottavino will be the star. Will be the closer in the next 2 weeks. You watch. Ottavino's nasty.
How about the Japanese guy? He's so coachy, but he looks pretty good out there.
Yeah, he's like 103 years old. You realize this kid like played a full career already in the Japanese league.
The people of Japan age well. They age well, Scott. To live to 119 over there is not unusual.
Yeah, no, it's not.
How about that Ohtani guy? He hits 450-foot home runs and throws 100 miles an hour when he gets on the mound.
I know. That this Red Sox should have gotten him.
Next time you go to LA, you should be watching him.
Yeah, problem with him is he's very injury prone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So and again. I just want to finish the loop on Eovaldi. If Eovaldi stays healthy, he's a guy that could win 20 games.
I think the season's going to depend on what kind of Chris Sale we get when he comes back.
Chris Sale's not coming back this year. That's a joke.
So.
Chris Sale. Look, I saw a picture of him.
Will he be effective? Is the thing.
Look, all they ask Chris Sale to do is, why don't you gain like 10 pounds, pal? Why don't you just do that? You're not doing anything else.
Just hang with me for a week, and we'll throw 20 on him in no time.
I know, exactly. We emphasize cake so much in this house that he could possibly not gain weight.
Go on the Tim Hoey diet. He'll be up to 240 in no time.
That dude's rehab underneath the stands eating the hot dogs.
Yeah. So
dessert. Do I want the dessert menu? Yes, I do.
Yeah, yeah, right. Before the meals comes. All right, Nick Pavetta. We acquired a pretty young prospect in Pavetta for trash. Brandon Workman and Heath Hembry. Pavetta was a top prospect at one point with the Phillies. He looked really good in his first start.
And Brandon Workman might be the closer for the Cubs.
That's because
they've fallen.
Because they have Craig Kimbrell of all things.
Yeah.
Baseball? Is Kimbrell still in baseball?
Yeah, Theo gave him a big contract in the Cubs for the Cubs, and then he takes off. Yeah, you know Theo. Yeah.
Talk about a fall from. He must have had a deal with the devil or something, and he reneged on it, and God took all of his powers away from him or something.
All right, so you know how much I hate Cora, but literally, do you think the players respect Cora knowing that he cheated in the way what he had done?
I think they would have done the same thing in his place had they had the chance. So they don't even consider it.
Timmy?
I'm sure at some point they've all stolen a sign or tied up a ball or something, you know.
All right. I'm just keeping working at that.
You want to get checked right into that spot on the bench.
Most of us were best not sin cast a stone, as they say, right?
Okay. All right. When we were 0-3 and then look at playing the Rays, and quite possibly could be 0-6. If they were 0-6 right now, would he be going to Baltimore, Cora?
Yes. They wouldn't jettison him that quick.
They weren't going to go.
But they wouldn't.
Yeah, they weren't going to go through all the crap that they went through bringing him back to jettison him that quickly.
If they were 0-6,
no matter what.
If they were 0-6, they would not even be able to have 12% of people in the
I
press.
think the minimum would have been the All-Star break if they had really come out of this like, you know.
You're right, too.
10-30 or something like that, you know?
Losing to the Orioles 3 straight to start the season.
Embarrassing.
That's really absolutely pathetic. All right, Patriots. NFL is brilliant. They are hot stove league 24/7. It's the freaking NFL. We never, even in all these years, boys, when the Patriots were on top, we never hardly talked about the Patriots in the offseason. We sure were not talking about them. Maybe a little bit about the draft, but that was it. The Sam Darnold deal goes down. Look, I don't know if the Jets would have dealt with the Patriots, but I would have paid that.
Yeah, do we want Sam Darnold though? I don't want Sam Darnold.
I'm sure they've made an evaluation of Sam, and by the way, the Jets probably wouldn't.
I mean, they got him for a bag of footballs. It seems like, you know. I mean, it really was not. They did not give up much to get him. You know, the Jets. What's this? His third year? He's had 2 years. This is third year.
Would be his fourth year.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the Jets have seen all they wanted to see, and they just were like, "He's not our guy," you know.
But they're putting all the eggs in one basket. If this Zach Wilson doesn't work out, I don't think they got anything going behind him.
Look, Zach Wilson could be Sam Darnold ×2 very, very easily.
He's got no running back. He's got no receivers.
You know, Sam Darnold shows you what the number 2 pick in the draft can become. They can become nothing.
Yep. And Darnold was more successful in college than Zach Wilson was, played in a lot bigger program in USC, you know. And they compared Darnold's throws with Zach Wilson, and Darnold makes all the throws Zach Wilson does, you know. I think it's typical Jets. If Jets made the move, most likely it sucks. Right? I mean, that's simply enough.
Whatever they do is the wrong thing. It's like George Costanza opposite day. Whatever the Jets do the opposite.
Yeah.
He'll be the next Ryan Tannehill now.
Right. Look, it's a good flyer. I mean, at the very least, it's a good flyer for Carolina to take that for.
They don't seem to like what's his name, man? The guy from Minnesota that got hurt. So.
You know,
They got rid of Bridgewater. Yeah.
Donald was picked over the kid from Buffalo, right? I forget.
Josh Allen, yes.
He was picked ahead of him, right? So, you know, what was he? The third guy picked, the Buffalo guy?
No, in third quarterback pick.
Third quarterback pick, yeah.
Allen was 6, and I think Josh Allen was around 10 or 12.
Well, I have to look. They had great patience with Josh Allen when he didn't look like
they did because he sucked his first couple of years.
Yeah. All right. Now all of a sudden the focus is on Atlanta's pick on 4. I think Atlanta's going to take a quarterback. Why wouldn't they? I mean, Matt Ryan's at the end of his career. Why wouldn't they start developing a good young quarterback?
Especially like, you know, a guy like the kid from North Dakota, you know, that's a project to begin with, you know?
Yeah. Right. Isn't that the perfect situation?
Yeah. He has 2 years to develop under, and then Matt Ryan leaves, you know? And then you have your guy. And you're not paying him that much because he's
all right, Scotty, I'm checking my watch. It's okay to bring up Jimmy G now.
Oh, absolutely right. Timmy,
he's faded from he's on the back burner now.
It doesn't feel like, look, the media is getting its feed from the Patriots, especially guys like Mike Reese, who's fantastic. I think he's great. And you're right, Joe. Jimmy G all of a sudden is not in the conversation. Is that the Patriots trying to bring down the price?
Of course.
Yeah.
And the supposed price right now is a 1.
Not going to happen.
Everyone knows they're not going to get a 1 from him. But they want to put that out there so that they can get a 2. You know?
The big thing with him is that big giant contract he comes with. That's the big curveball in anything with Jimmy G.
And that's why everyone won't track. You know, they'll say, well, yeah, he's worth a 2nd-round pick, but that contract makes it a 4th-round pick.
Yeah.
Look, right now, again, I think they should take Jimmy G, draft like Parsons on the 15th pick, get a killer linebacker, whatever, draft 4 or 5 good guys, develop, like you said, Joe, develop some good young players too, have a good balance, and see what happens. Because they can always cut Jimmy G after this year.
Now, I was watching a mock draft the other day, and they didn't have a defensive player going until Patrick Surtain, I think, at 10. So imagine the talent that's going to be on the board at 15 defensively for the Patriots.
Well, it's not that much talent. It's just that all the quarterbacks are being taken early.
Yeah.
And then you got Pitts, the tight end, and you got Penny Sewell, the big offensive tackle, and then all those wide receivers, the 2 from Alabama, kid from LSU.
So there might be an absolute stud linebacker, and we know how Belichick loves his stud linebackers available at 15.
Well, it'll be very interesting to see what the 49ers, I think that's the most interesting pick right now because they could go Mac Jones, which for fans, we'd be very happy to get him off the board and to get the 49ers pick done, right?
But they got to be lying. They're lying to try to keep it.
But why would they lie? We know what the first 2 picks are.
No, we don't. We only know the first pick.
Oh, so you think
the Jets have not said they admit. Everyone assumes it's going to be Zach Wilson.
The Jets will probably trade out of the first round. That's how bad the Jets are.
After they traded Sam Donald.
Yeah. So look, Teddy Bridgewater. Any consideration?
I would take Teddy Bridgewater in a heartbeat right now. What did he win 5-0 with the Saints, right, this year?
No.
That was 2 years ago, right?
That was years ago, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater.
He's
not there's no reason you got Janu Smith and Hunter Henry, so your quarterback could be Teddy Bridgewater. There's no way they're doing that. Bridgewater's a nice backup, though, Timmy.
Listen, I'll take anyone over the present state of quarterback with the Patriots. There aren't many people's names you could say right now that I wouldn't say yes to.
Yeah, if you're saying yes to Teddy Bridgewater, that means we're saying yes.
All right.
Anybody but kids.
Boys, go in your crystal ball. Does Bill Belichick already know who's going to be the quarterback?
I think he's got Jimmy G lined up behind the scenes somehow. I don't know why. If I was a betting man, I'd bet that Jimmy G's taking the first snap at the Patriots. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know what's going on, but it just seems that vibe I have that Jimmy G's got to be with the Patriots.
at a reduced deal, Joe, right?
Yeah, I'm sure you have to restructure or do something to sweeten the pot so they can. And remember, he has a no trade clause. He has to agree to go to wherever they trade him.
So if they cut Jimmy G, right? I don't know if
They never cut him.
But what would Jimmy G get on the open market for a contract? I mean, would he be down
right.
about 12 million?
Yeah, like they might have to cut him. They don't want to carry that kind of cap number.
They can't carry. They can't carry.
A Super Bowl team.
Joe's right, Timmy. If he has a no trade contract and he says, I don't want to go anywhere, I really like here in San Francisco.
They got to cut him, and his contract's going to drop like 50%.
Yeah, I agree.
Does he still have guaranteed money left that's owed to him?
I think the guaranteed money is gone. He only counts $25 million against the cap.
That's a lot, Joe, though. That's a lot in a reduced cap. Yeah.
Especially when San Francisco wants to make a run at the Super Bowl in a reduced cap year.
So yeah. I just want to make sure I'm correct here. If they don't cut him, they have to pay him $25 million, right?
Yeah. It's guaranteed. Yeah.
I can't imagine San Fran writing that check.
Well,
yeah, it'll be once he's. It's usually if you're on the roster at the beginning of the league year, which I think is in July, then you'll get the money.
I just can't see San Fran, like, the vibe that San Fran, the whole city, the fans and everything are giving off about Jimmy G.
They're moving on.
I just can't see them writing a $25 million check for him this year.
Well, we'll see. All right, boys, we're going to go finally to the Bruins and the University of Maine. All of a sudden, they have contributed to the Bruins a hot prospect goalie, Swayman. He comes in last night, 40 saves, and they beat the Flyers.
You think everyone in Maine was sitting there in their flannel shirts last night in front of a fireplace watching the Bruins game?
Absolutely.
He made a fabulous save on a deflection, a glove save on a deflection. I don't know how he got it.
Well, the kid's athletic. He's quick. He's aggressive. He's big, which they love big goalies now with that butterfly style. I mean, there's a lot to like there.
Yeah, nice size at 6'2", 190, Joe.
Yeah, and he looks like he was having fun, like he really enjoyed being there. He was smiling and laughing every time he made a big play. I mean, you could see he was thrilled.
Well, we got to taste the Halak in the playoffs. I mean, Halak seemed like an adequate backup until we saw the real Halak in the playoffs last year. He lost the series single-handedly last year.
All right, Timmy, you're gonna get your wish soon. Goodbye, Tuukka.
I would say so. With this, he's 35 and he has a bad back, and I mean, he's making a ton of money. I mean,
is this the last year of his contract?
Yep, he's done.
All right, so
they're not going to re-sign him.
No, and then they get some relief salary.
I'd love to see them send him out to someone, on a deadline trade. Pick up a draft pick or something.
I'm going to pitch in my 2 cents on the Bruins right now. We need more people to start scoring other than the names of Bergeron, Marchand, and Pasternak.
Okay.
I mean, every night it's the same. They're the only ones that score on this team.
Does Sweeney have enough balls to, before the deadline, if he thinks this Swayman and the other young kid could be the backup where they could switch, to trade Tuukka before the deadline?
Oh, he'd do it in a heartbeat. So fast. After he opted out last year, are you kidding me? He can't get rid of him fast enough.
So if he could trade Tuukka for a young player or even a number one pick, you think he'd do it?
Because remember, you're going to have the expansion draft this year.
Yeah.
Players, so you're better off having draft picks. Draft picks, future draft picks would even be okay. But Seattle can't take those.
And we know with young goalies who they don't have great scouting reports. The kid in Washington years ago, Ken Dryden, who was a rookie. All of a sudden, these guys in the playoffs can get.
The name Ken Dryden just makes me sad still. I still remember the moment, 1971. I was sitting in my basement watching them lose that game to Montreal, and I went outside, and the birds weren't even singing. Like the whole city was silent. It was like
it was such a good team.
If I could have taken a plane up when I was 10 years old, if I could have taken a plane to Montreal, I would have hunted him down and killed him myself.
Hunted him down. Well, I'm
so glad.
do that. I really am.
So sad.
I've never been a goalie over 5'5" before that, and all of a sudden you put that monster in there.
What's the chances? All right, give me a percentage. What's the chances that Sweeney would pull that deal?
Well, we gotta see a couple more games out of this.
No one else would take him. No one would take him as a.
No, I don't know about that. A team that thought that, especially if a team that thinks they can compete if they have a goalie injury.
Maybe Philly. That's their problem.
That would be pretty ballsy. But I'm all for it because I think that this team needs a lightning rod, and this kid could be it.
Yeah, we seem to gather around. You guys weren't able to see it, but a lot of the guys seem to be rallying around the kid.
And guys, the teams play a little different when you're protecting a young goalie sometimes too.
Yeah.
You become a little more conservative, a little less risk taking, and that can equate it to less goals against sometimes. But what we need now, we need another 30-goal scorer on this team.
Yeah, who doesn't though? Those don't grow in speed.
So
all right, boys.
Can we get some talented head case out there who knows how to put the puck in the net there for Tuukka in a trade? Some guy who's just, some kid who's a top 4 pick the last 3 or 4 years, who's just
there are a couple of those out there.
So basically, you're talking about a change of scenery guy.
A change of scenery guy for Tuukka, a guy who's super talented, just isn't making it happen. You remember how we got rid of the kid to Dallas a few years ago?
Yeah,
Sagan.
Kind of like
a Sagan type out there that some team was hurting for a goalie might have a guy like that.
Hey, can we get Sagan back? I wouldn't mind.
We can give him Krejci too.
I'm not a big Krejci fan either, Joe.
And we'll throw in DeBrusque because
last year too. They're not going to re-sign him.
Throw in DeBrusque because I'm tired of watching DeBrusque.
Well, he comes back tomorrow night. He's been missing for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I haven't missed him one bit.
Yeah, going up and down the ice and doing nothing.
Exactly.
There might be a team out there that really thinks they have a chance, and they could use some goal, like a number 1 goaltender that might bite on Tuukka.
Well, see, there you go. I think it's a chance. We're starting the rumor right now. That's what our sources tell us. All right, boys.
I would not be surprised if that discussion is not going on in the Bruins organization right now.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they've called a lot of the other general managers about that.
Yeah,
Krejci too. Good rentals. These are solid rentals to a real contender.
But Joe, as you said last week, you can be a seller and a buyer all at the same time.
Right. But I do think that maybe I don't see the Bruins as a true contender, to tell you the truth. So I'd like to kind of more sell and buy and get future draft picks to put them in a better position down the line.
Yeah.
Because Seattle's going to take a couple of good players.
The projected number 1 pick is my son Colin's ex-teammate, Matty Beniers out of Hingham. He's the projected. I coached the kid when he was younger. The projected number 1 pick in the NHL.
Wow, Timmy.
He must have listened to me, huh?
Yeah.
The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, Tim.
Yep, you're training the future superstars of this league, and we thank you, Timmy. All right, boys, that's our show for tonight. Want to thank Corbin, of course, behind the scenes. Want to thank the fellas. Please check us out on our website at thegrandstanders.com and tune in again next Wednesday night at 6:30 for another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman. Have a great and happy night.